Omanfm. Abusa for Mobia ha Mobia Kababa LSC Reference Center or Oman 107.1 FM live on Facebook as well as on YouTube also. O called me pedal search Oman 1071 the same pa Abusa for ye will hold more live. If I'm Gordon as I be dear many of a Kamaka chair with 10 and every yet nasi efa LSC Reference Center so na said there be a munim no a free 40 September and you start here said e do the say ya kwakotwa ben na e wo se tim echeche mu issues kropa e wo ho no mu eni obese na voting rights enema be na so far no social contractor MPP ni Ghana for assign 2016 no ya Ghana for timiji etum so beto abama MPP no social contract no say kwampo na the new patriotic party omo etim edison ye be call regions no yakwa regions na ebiri yakwa eastern region greater Accra central regions yakwa no na bronze yakwa no western of ons yakwa enyame adoma ye be call half ankasa na yakwa kodi enkomo na half hon so no ubesi na interesting dynamics na wo hon mo etine no so ye bedi ho enkomo e wo half. Yes, strategy medina ye kona MPP for be press conference enne enti no halfway no e betwa so na kwa press conference no ye wi e be saba back to the studio of course ye ne ura benefsin enne Dr. Jordan Fe University of Ghana Lagos senior lecturer ye no so be di enkomo enne. Omanfm na adodan kwa kufu agdo e greater Accra region ya water region was start enra enu ntino Accra brebe mu ebekwa homa no so ne reporter akwakodi nkomo se so far no Omanfm no ehfa en wadu na wakọ no di be so na ehire ni mu a de be dwuma na wopa ho entoma nyina ne ba kodi nkomo no wakọ na hemfo de ehemfo so na ejebo no se be di ho nkomo de Omanfm abedechire Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia enso enam Eastern region ono so obo apro hon pa mate se de nkofo si di na chinde enya asem ketwa na enalo pana and this lawyer ba could be Eduji Tamakulu and the to ni Facebook so ka say ni deal program no to the be a fake news matter fake news so aba it's a fake news ba bon tene say tim chichi manko 40 asia na ya chichi kakra manipa atiasia and now no private and say lawyer Eduji Tamakulu dia to ni Facebook wall an obisi wo twam e wo Eastern Regional University and na wo hu se nkofo MPP for ye de bias akosi ho and ye packing nkofo gum na obukodi Dr. Bawumia chi and is oh and never Dr. Bawumia nam wonam afam place no ho awu on my friend place na se ga obe pen nkofo akodi Dr. Bawumia achi a e ka so menya eno nti no obi a obeka se bia MPP for ko ba bi no akoso nipa gu bas mu bia da bo san pacho so hu na o ka se pass ni hu. right, so and then the focus on a half region. Now half region no constituencies na hormone no and no sumum. 6 seats and na what half hormone. Na 6 seats no mama ne ebusafo me na mu enche 6 seats na what half no. Tano South ewo hormone. Tano North so ewo hormone. Esunafo South ewo ho. Esunafo North ewo ho no mo. Esutifi South ewo ho no mo. And then Esutifi North also ewo ho no mo. Na sa says constituency hwamu na eruli ewo sa constituency ho no. E be di ho nkomo pa. Best 2012 election results na ma sa 2016 as results no na ya hwe say dynamics na te say na ye chebo half region into 3 na half region benya 6 constituencies no out of 6 no MPP fokuta 4 seats and this fokuta 2 seats and until no ebeba ko say 7 December 42 days away no ebeba ko say MPP for besa really supreme e wo ho no mo ana say be maintain keke ana say enipa na and this vote no so no beje aka ho ana say and this force betimi agibi aka ho enti half region the abusafo very interesting. Don't forget to say Ahafo region is the region of Collins Dauda. Ahafo region is the region of Eriko Poku. MP before me a year from Musamu Anna. Busafo and said 2016 and 2016 elections no ya Tano South say ya Tano South no nam nipa me keka NDC ni MPP die keke no because o maka no o ma hye de enya kese bia MPP ni NDC na ye be focus on Hana Louisa Bisiu NDC wonya 17,215 ewo Tano South and a Benjamin Yebo Asechre MPP or also 21,018 and Tano South no na Hana BC and incumbent and a Benjamin Yebo Asechre of the New Patriotic Party with him about homebody ebe to the future was a former kaya Hana BC olusu elections na say pen was hey and me bu afumati kwa pai hospital no baby me koye donation hospital bed abi de blemu nyina no mo fa hospital bed nyina ememe no sande anwaka eko hospital ko sa ne nyina efi hospital hono mo ene Hana BC esa babak e be hwe de be koso e water no south abuso yen ko Tano North so Tano North so apreculati of the NDC wonya 13,801 and Freda Prempe 19,815 represented the New Patriotic Party. I don't think Freda Prempe as with me in your seat no 19,815 a difference of about 7,000 and I would me ADBT no ewo hono. So you to be can yenko Esunafo South so Esunafo South also na a very interesting Eric Opoku ya waye member of parliament for Brownfo February no Eric Opoku so enya represented the NDC onya 20,618 and George Boachi of the New Patriotic Party ono so nya 18,091 18,091 team fa say a difference of about 2,000 but abusa trend kakra bi ho no mo say chance na edin komoni ya ye be ma sa trend kakra mo we say Eriko Poku no steadily and I say consistently no the figures no sha as a bafo which means na ho ode no bafom esunafo south so eno ntim de buy no Eriko Poku of the NDC nya 20,618 na Eric Boy George Bachi so nya 18,091. So for you to make an young call as Snafu North also. As Snafu North also, no, the Kosi or Honmuan say NDC Muhammad Kwakudoku when you are 24,000 flat. And Evans Opoku Bubi of the NPP, one also at 31,681. NDC ninya 24,000 and then MPP ninya 31,641. Yanko Esutifi South. Yako Esutifi South dia nache se ahoye Collins Dada akachi pepepe. Collins Dada of the NDC onya 15,855. 15,855. And Mrs. Silejan Amwa, Bosafo Kaya, Mrs. Silejan Amwa pa waba parliament da before be baniku and na we ya na Mrs. Silejan Amwa ever contesting win ye and no two colors the free akuna so the following 4 years and a colors that stage come back and obey to the free so I fed the mami umudi ne pambro baby put there just kokoda engrum krempani sa 2016 elections na mamini stage come back unfortunately no Collins Dowda SRABT no 15,855 and then Mrs. Cecilia Jan Amwa so enya 12,026 and until no you know story that we hold the last constituency Esutifi North also NDC no your friend Eric Adade when you have 12,970 and then Ben Hazin Joseph Dana of the New Patriotic Party when you have 15,955 it also MPP for 80 FR seat no. Obetima join you live our Facebook obetima search Oman 1071 Oman 107.1 FM and now obetima ko YouTube also you stream live e wo hono my family God na sare media ko na me ma figures no see ko 2012 elections so you betimi akwa check enipa 2 na wo ahafo abebese yen focus on them Eriko Poku and Collins Dada obo figures na se di esitien Eriko Poku 2016 onya 20,618 ewo esunafo south. Yes, I share Eriko Poku ahoɔden bi mu so a na ewo so ewo 2012 elections no. And the 2012 elections no Eriko Poku enya 21,770 and at 2016 elections no Eriko Poku enya 20,618. Eti where the year Eriko Poku ni votes no eso ati aba be 1,000 at least 1,000 the ebeba bidru ye kokole that ho so ye be kokole that so eho no ewo Esutifi South so no Alaji Collins Dada 2012 Collins Dada enya 16,877 2012 Collins Dada ebenya 15,855 international at least 1,000 votes reduction and a buy-in. But MPP for no Esutifi South 2012 MPP for enya 12,820. About 2016 MPP ni no so enya 12,026. It also votes no esoti by almost 800, but we maintain 12,000 mark no. And I will call 2012 one so Eriko Poku 2012 Eriko Poku enya 20,618 and MPP ni enya 18,091. 2012 MPP ni nya 18,995. It means also they are not about from be 800. But Eriko Poku nya 21,770 2012. And at 2016 we nya 20,618, which is about 1,300 reduction and a buy. Into no interesting figures I know so a free half a buy. But I just say no a 6 constituencies. MPP could have 4 constituencies and NDC could have 6 constituencies. December 7th, the best city we see it. You know, about for a election reference center. I was for anything here. She said, "Bit me according to MPP for press conference." No, I say now. Why he no hormone? Na Krabia, you be na you say. You start young as a person connecting. You go straight away.
The universities and so on. The NPP gets a clean sweep, and so there is no debate about the fact that the youth are for the party, and so we are talking to our own people today. And to put before them what we've done and what we intend to do in the next 4 years for the youth of this country. Now, The first achievement that comes to anybody's mind when we're talking about delivering progress for young people is, of course, the free SHS. And through the free SHS, no young person in this country is going to finish school at 12 years or 13 years, JHS level, either because they failed the JHS exams or their parents could not afford secondary school. Through the Monumental's free SHS, every Ghanaian child will grow into a youth guaranteed education to the secondary school level. And we all know what that means for lifting people, giving them that level of education, what that means for lifting them out of poverty. And this has been achieved by the NPP government. And going forward into the next 4 years, we would strengthen the implementation of the free SHS. We would work very hard to remove the dual system, what we call the double track. As you all know, 40% of Get Fund revenues have been collateralized to raise $1.5 billion to provide infrastructure existing secondary schools at a rapid pace, so that we'll be able to remove double track very, very soon. Very forward-looking policy, collateralizing just 40% of Get Fund revenues to raise $1.5 billion to deliver infrastructure at the pace that it is currently going on, so we can remove double track. And this we can assure the Ghanaian youth. It's happening now. It's not just a promise. Now, housing, we all agree, is a major problem facing young people in this country. And I am sure many of you media people sitting here, who I suspect all fall into the category of young people between the ages of 21 and 40, I'm sure many of you go through this problem of finding accommodation that is affordable. We all know that the population of this country has kept way ahead of the provision of housing. So there's a housing shortage. Some estimate it to be about 2 million units of housing. The result has been that rent is quite high, but more crippling is the issue of rent advance. So the young person who has finished school or who's planning to get married is faced with the problem of accommodation and rent advance. You have to pay 3 years rent advance. Many young people end up taking loans from their workplaces and so on to be able to pay for rent advance. The NPP is going to relieve the young people of this burden of rent advance. What the NPP has in store is what we call the National Rental Assistance Scheme. Now, this scheme will be set up very quickly in the next 4 years of the NPP. Now, this National Rental Scheme for young people has the following features. It will provide loans to Ghanaian youth at very, very low interest, so that you can pay for rental accommodation. Now, the monies will be paid. Landlords who desire to rent homes will register under the scheme. The advanced rent of 2 years or 3 years will be paid directly to the landlord, and you, the beneficiary youth, will just pay monthly payments to the scheme. So you would not have to look for all these huge amounts of 3 years rent, 4 years rent, and so on. You just have to look for the monthly rent. The scheme will take on the advance payment on your behalf. So in the next short years, 2-3 years, 1 year, 2 years, the issue of rent advance will no more be a big issue worrying young people. The government will set up a seed capital of 100 million cedis that will serve as a seed capital, and that will also be used as a leverage to attract additional investment from the private sector and so on. And young people in both formal and informal sectors will be eligible once they can show that they have a regular income, whether they are plumbers, whether they are office workers, whether they are tailors, they are mechanics. Once you can show that you have a regular income and you have your national ID card for identification purposes, you will be eligible for the scheme. And this, like I said, is paid directly to the landlord, and so you would not have to pay 3 years rent. You would just pay your monthly rent, the very little interest. And government will implement the necessary regulatory and operational policies to anchor this policy. Indeed, as we speak, there's a new Rent Control Act that is in line with this new policy. And this new Rent Control Act has already been drafted for review by Cabinet. So this is a major step that the government of the NPP will take to solve a major problem of young people in this country, which is the issue of high rent and the issue of rent advance. In the longer term, we would be implementing a mortgage scheme so that young people would begin a process of owning their own homes. Now, in this direction, the NPP government has already established the National Housing and Mortgage Finance Scheme, which has already been piloted with 2 private banks and the Tema Development Company. And this pilot has already delivered 250 housing units at Tema Community 22 and another 200 under construction at Tema Community 22 and a further 80 flats at Tema Community 26. Now, these houses are being established under the National Housing and Mortgage Finance Scheme in partnership with private banks and the Tema Development Company. And this housing scheme will be deepened to ensure that we begin to provide the housing that will make young people aspire to owning their own houses. So the rental scheme, the mortgage, the advance rents will be temporary, but the longer term is to have every young person own their own homes. A second issue that we all know is dear to the heart of Ghanaian youth is jobs. And we all know that in the last 30 years or so, the job situation has been critical in this country, mainly because the growth of the population, particularly of young people, has been much more than the growth in the economy. So the economy has not been able to deliver the services that are being demanded by the growing population, particularly in the numbers of young people. So jobs is a major issue that the NPP government is tackling head on, and in the next 4 years will tackle with even greater energy. In 2016, if you remember, we promised that we'll build an economy that will create jobs for young people. If you look at the record of the NPP is the government, the only government in the Fourth Republic that introduced a deliberate, sustained policy to provide jobs for young people. The very famous National Youth Employment Program in 2006. And we all remember that in the 2-year period between 2006, 2007 up to 2008, 108,000 direct jobs was provided by the NPP government at that time for young people under the NYEP, the National Youth Employment Program. We remember also, very, very sadly, that when the NPP left office in 2009, this laudable program of the National Youth Employment Program, after the NPP left office, was turned into the very, very infamous GIDA. And we all know what became of it. The GIDA became a vehicle for barefaced corruption and stealing of taxpayers' monies under the guise of youth employment. The trust of youth employment was changed from giving young people direct jobs in the security, auxiliary nursing, auxiliary teachers, auxiliary sanitation workers, giving them direct jobs. It was changed to a policy where contracts were given to train young people, and in many of those contracts, the training was not offered. All the monies were paid, and is one of the saddest episodes of corruption in this country. That was what the NYP was turned into. But the record of the NPP still stands that we are the only government that set up a vehicle to provide jobs for young people directly. There's the NYEP. Now, after coming back into government in 2017, we have continued, restructured the so-called GIDA, and we have continued the modified version of the NYEP. And so many jobs have been provided under it. Now, since 2017 to the middle of 2020, the NPP government has created over 2 million direct and indirect jobs for the Ghanaian youth. 778,000 in the public sector, 268,000 in the former private sector, and 1 million jobs in government job creation programs, including the famous NAPCO, which has 100,000 young people directly employed. The breakdown for the government created programs, the 1 million jobs, include Planting for Food and Jobs, 762,000 jobs. NAPCO, which I've already mentioned, 100,000 jobs. The National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, under my good young friend Mr. Kuma, 92,000 jobs. National Identification Authority, that exercise provided 35,000 jobs. The Outgrower Value Chain in Agriculture provided 7,000 jobs. The Ghana Commercial Agricultural Project for Young People provided 11,000. The Forest Plantation Program provided 84,000 jobs for young people. Health and medical personnel employed over the period, 65,000. Teachers and non-technical staff for Ministry of Education, 74,000. Lecturers in tertiary institutions, 6,700. And of course, the Youth Employment Program, formerly the NYEP, formerly GIDA, has provided 185,000 people jobs for young people. Indeed, the Ghana Living Standard Survey 7 indicated that youth employment in Ghana reduced from 11.9% in 2015 to 8.4% in 2018, a reduction of 3.5%. That's the latest Ghana Living Standard Survey, number 7, conducted by the Statistical Service. Now, going forward, the next NPP government will work to deepen job creation and better target job creation for young people who are willing to work. One major pursuit will be the One District, One Factory program. All of us, in the days of our primary school and secondary school, were taught that the way forward for this country is industrialization. And it is industrialization that will throw out the jobs, that will provide jobs on a sustainable basis, that will save the foreign exchange that we bleed in imports, and that really will put the economy on a sound footing. And all the countries that are rich today, that many young people like to go to, are industrial countries. And if we follow suit and manage to industrialize our country, nothing stops us from attaining the growth rates and the development rates that some of these rich countries have. The NPP is the government in the Fourth Republic that has a systematic program to deliver industrialization to this country under the famous one district, one factory. And every young person should be excited about this program. So far, over 50 industries have been set up, providing jobs and processing foodstuffs and doing manufacturing of rare products. They're already throwing up jobs. More importantly, the processing facilities that are being set up would have a major effect on agriculture. We aim to process 50% of agricultural produce, the maize, the tomatoes, the peppers, the corn, cassava, palm nuts, palm oil, and turn them into industrial products. And that would make peasant agriculture become commercial agriculture and make agriculture attractive to young people. Because currently, it's difficult to get into commercial agriculture because you don't have the support for the produce. With this massive IDIF program, which is throwing up many processing facilities, very soon we'll be processing 50% of our agricultural produce, and that will provide stable incomes and livelihoods in agriculture and make agriculture an attractive option for young people. It will reduce the rural-urban drift, raise the value of agriculture, raise the value of our economy, spread even development in the country, and throw up jobs, build a better country for young people. And this IDIF program, the NPP is the only government in the Fourth Republic that has a systematic program like that, driven by policy and an implementation plan, as all of us know. And young people should be particularly excited about this particular development. We would pursue IDIF vigorously in the next 4 years and throw up a lot of factories. We've said we aim to do it in every district, and that remains our aim. The third point of reference for young people as far as this government is concerned is the digitization of the Ghanaian economy and the Ghanaian society. Digitization is building the future now for the young people. We all know that digitization is inevitable in all aspects of life: knowledge, skills training, education. All have to go through digitalization one way or the other. The youth are the future of this country. So building a digital economy and infrastructure in this country is therefore building the future for the youth. The NPP is the digital party. The NPP government is the digital government. Now, the NPP, having delivered to this country the monumental National Health Insurance Scheme in 2003-2004, having delivered to this country the Great Free SHS in 2017, is now poised to deliver the future through digitization. We are the pioneering party. We are the pioneering government in delivering digitization. This sustained national effort is led by no less a person than our Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has been aptly named by some of you in the media as Mr. Digitization. So the digitization effort has been placed at the high level of the Vice Presidency. Now I invite the youth of this country to check out the progress that the NPP is making in delivering digitization in the last 3.5 years. One that will come into your mind is the Ghana Post GPS, or the National Digital Address System. Now, I'm sure many of you in your press houses and in your personal spaces, you all have the digital address. Now, this GPS address system will increasingly become the backbone of Ghana's e-commerce market. It's been delivered by the NPP. You would also remember the mobile money payments interoperability, which makes available easy and cheap money transfers using our mobile phones across networks, makes possible the transfer of funds from mobile money accounts to our bank accounts, and from mobile money account and bank accounts to biometric payment card accounts. This fluid interoperability across mobile wallets and bank accounts is indeed the most advanced in sub-Saharan Africa. And it's been pioneered in this country by the NPP. It is instructive for the Ghanaian youth to remember that the NDC, our friends, in 2015-2016, had planned to roll out interoperability. The cost was $1.2 billion. The NPP has delivered interoperability at less than $5 million. So it shows you the space that is left for NPP to do more. It would have cost the country $1.2 billion. The NPP did it at $4.5 million, actually. You would also remember the Ghana Government Digital Payments Platform, which is a one-stop shop to enable citizens, particularly the youth, to access government services and make payments for public services. Everyday government services are being digitized at a very fast rate. You can now acquire your driver's license in digital format. You can now register your vehicle in digital format. Your license plate will be digital license plates that can be read by digital gadgets by police and so on. You can apply online for your passports. You can digitally renew your national health insurance membership. The birth and death registry processes are being digitized to remove the human element and some of the guru things that go on. It's about 80% complete. The permit processes for construction are also being digitized. There's a pilot program in Accra and Tema, and already this digitization of the permit processes application has reduced the turnaround time from 30 days to about 9 days. The processes for applying and obtaining building operating permits and licensing are also being digitized. It's been piloted in 29 MMDAs. The courts are being digitized at a fast pace. Public sector procurement has been digitized. Vehicle insurance database has been digitized, and that has eliminated false insurance certificates and enabled police and commuters to check insurance status. So you want to check an insurance status of a vehicle, you send the number to a code, and the answer will come back if that vehicle is properly insured through digitization. Electricity purchasing is digitized. You can purchase electricity now from your phone. It's available to 2.8 million customers of electricity. We aim that by the end of this year to be 100% coverage across the country. You can file your taxes online and so on. So all of these are government services that have been very laborious, and all of them being brought to the reach of young people sitting in the comfort of their homes and the comfort of their offices. We're building the future for the young people in this country. You would remember the provision of biometric national ID cards, which gives every Ghanaian, particularly the youth, a unique special biometric identification. This Ghana card will become the central nervous system of our digital assets, and it will quicken the building of a digital economy for the youth of this country. You remember that in the 8 years of the NDC, our friend, from 2009 to 2016, even though they had the National Identification Authority sitting in place and paying all the people working there in 8 years, they were never able to produce one national ID card. In the last 3.5 years, the NPP government has produced 14 million cards for Ghanaians, for Ghanaian young people. In 8 years, the NDC could not produce one. That shows you the clear difference between the two governments, the two parties, and what they mean for the future of this country. You would also remember the universal QR code payment system, which is being rolled out as we speak. Now that takes us to the last mile of the payment system for everyday economic and commercial transactions. These universal QR code payments. Many of you have access to the QR code in your newspapers and so on. And the payment system, which has been implemented, is really going to revolutionize payments for goods and services. You will not need the traditional POS. You have to key in so many numbers. And indeed, Ghana is the first country in Africa with a universal PR code payment system. And this has been delivered to this country, been delivered to the youth of this country by the NPP government. And in the next 4 years, you will see a vigorous rollout. And this country will look completely different at the end of the next 4 years for the youth of this country. Digitization is now and is also the future. Any country that does not pursue digitization will be left out. And this youth will be stranded for the future. The determined effort to digitize Ghana is a major deliverable to the youth of this country by the NPP government. And the NPP is clearly the government that is taking the youth of this country into the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, this presentation is just a presentation on the basic good news that the NPP has for the Ghanaian youth going forward. And I'm charging the Ghanaian youth to rise up and carry President Akufo-Addo and the NPP on their shoulders to victory in December 7, 2020, so that together we will form a partnership that will build a solid country and a solid future for the youth that will be the envy of their peers in Africa. I thank you very much for your attention.
Omanfm.
Come on. Self-appointed.
Well, thank you very much. Interestingly, we've heard what the MPP is doing and continue to do. Without a doubt, this election is going to be a win for the MPP. The youth of this country, we have seen, observed the consistency and the manner in which good governance is being delivered, just as is well explained by our former Director of Communication, Nana Akumia. We thank you for coming. Thank you so much. And inshallah, we will hear again next week. But then, I'm told there's not going to be translation of same. The tree version.
We can try something.
Okay, that's fine. Then director says he's going to take the tree version, maybe summarize it a bit for us, and then afterwards, if you have questions, you proceed with your questions. Okay, then the suggestion is that we take the questions first, then after the questions, then the tree version would be given. Will that be all right? Okay, so please let's have your questions. Maybe we take some few questions. He would answer same. Having done with the answers of your questions, then we proceed with the tree translation. Thank you so much. So, yes, the gentleman there.
Yeah. My first question, my name is Frederick.
Frederick? Okay. All right.
My name is Frederick Lanswell. I'm from TV3. My first question based on the rental policy. The 4 years policy of MPP is saying that they are going to pay an advance payment for a youth that has secured a job at a particular institution. that advance payment will be based on 2 years or 3 years. But looking at the law made it clear that the advance payment is supposed to be 6 months. Is that not going to defeat the purpose of that law?
Thank you so much. Frederick, from where?
TV3.
TV3, thank you. I think it's well noted. A question again, if you... Yes? Do we have another one? Yes, my brother. Please let him have the mic. Your name and the media house you're from, please.
Well, my name is Joseph Nanaya Kobna. I report for the LifeAfricanNews.com. I just want to find out from Honorable Nanakumia, the 100 million seed capital. Can we know the source of funding, where you're going to pick it from?
Thank you. The ladies, any question from the ladies as well?
Omanfm.
Yes? Okay, so we're done. I think Nana Kumia is going to give us the answers to your questions. We have the first one from Frederick and the second one from my brother from the African Online.
Thank you. Thank you. My brother Frederick wanted to say that the law says advance should be 6 months. And so, well, I didn't say the payments, the rent advance that will be eligible will be 2 years or 3 years. If you have a rent advance of 6 months, you can apply. If you have a rent advance of 1 year, you can apply. The law, as we all know, is being... What's the problem? There's an echo? So how do you deal with it? So we can just put this off, or? Yes, the law has been observed in the breach. And you know, even though the law says 6 months, the woman or the man landlord will tell you 2 years. What do you do? Are you going to take them to court? But like I said, we are going to do something about the law. If you remember, I had said that the government would implement, I think it's on paragraph 6, is it there? Mr. Elliott, if we went to page 4, are we there with the PowerPoint? If we went to page 4, it said there in paragraph, it said government to implement the necessary regulatory and operational policies to anchor the policy. And indeed, as we speak, a new Rent Control Act has been drafted and is being reviewed for cabinet to make sure that the laws are aligned to this policy. My other brother said that what will be the source of funding for the 100 million? Was that a question? For the 100 million? Oh. I don't think there will be new taxes. Yeah, you look at him, he's afraid of new taxes. No, I don't think we'll raise new taxes. We'll be able to source that money through regular government revenue and put it aside, because it's so important. It's this rent advance thing, for many people, young people who are renting, this advance thing is killing them. I mean, in my company, hardly does 1 month go by without an application for loan to pay rent. We don't want to put young people through that. So landlords with properties will register with the scheme. If you're a young person, Ghanaian, you have your national ID card for identification purposes and you have a regular income, preferably, you register in the scheme, you are approved, you pay 1 month, as the month ends, you pay your rent. Government will settle the landlord for you. And then you just pay your 1 month. And then I'm sure if you speak to many young people who have finished school and working, one of the big problems they will tell you is the issue of rent advance. Okay, so I would our 3 brothers and sisters, are they here? So the English people, they can go? Oh, okay. Yo, minuanum and then share yasem no tia NPP are buying NPP party. Yade ba beto Ghana imebu omenim juma aban no ama mebu enyankoso. Any juma aban no ebeye mfie na ya aka Yankopon adom ni mu adom eda president Akufo-Addo enimi mfie na juma ebeye na yenya yenim free SHS ya aban di abey free SHS nutino ene Ghana mofra bia ni Ghana obeja school we did 12 years we did 13 years ewo JHS etwem na niema menu ni aye free SHS nipa bia wantimi anto aso ewo JSS ebiana wa fail exams no anase na wo for any sika de bema na to aso free SHS policy na trust ade no no basic school no ya twemo de secondary school until failing was JSS na any hobby and secondary school no so ya no free ma yenya yenim fasoa ewo sa hihye yiso NPP are buying in the first 4 years if you na edikan ya de aba amagana mofra ne Ghana mebum na ye ko ye nimiade ba ko ha Ghana mebum pa eye okohan dan yesi betwe advance ebia afimie no se afi ba ko rent 1,000 cedis bosome the betwe 2 years advance 1 year advance ade a edi mebum nyapa wa wie suku wadi be 23 na waso anware wadi be 26 so nya baby papa tena oni ukura na no ye na rent advance dey abo trim fena kwa ko hwe besia ade ha mebum ye ko ye nim fie na NPP aban e ba betwem shisha ade ba no ne se ye frɛ bibia ye shisha ade ba ye frɛ no rent assistance scheme shisha na ne se aban diskabi ba beto ho na oye landlord and a landlady na wodan ya pesa wo de hire wo be register with san shisha na obi ba na obe odeni wie ori landlord ya la odeni wie shisha no rent na advance na wo hwe no aban no betena se na aban atwia se sika no se 1 year no se 6 months so aban betwia se sika na ma wo landlord no na mebu no no ba be han wo dan no betwia bosome ama aban nti sa rent advance no ye ba betwem Omanfm free next year 2021 echo na buying this for 100 million cedis to ho e was ahihye o ye mabunku na o ye adwuma se wa won sa no adwuma na o ye adwuma wo office na o je aketwea aban be so onsa was nhihye mu e betwa rent advance mu ye ko ye nimi nso no ye pese wa utimi enya odan nti ye the mortgage nhihye bia esonko e mu odin pa eba na we adwuma be 10 years bia niska kakra to ho wa betimi atọ dan na hihye kra no ya sese ya start your friend no National Housing and Mortgage Finance Scheme I ne TDC I started here ye ho adwuma I na ye ka say woko tema community 22 almost 250 adan flats and 200 so you go so ayesi woko a community 26 so almost 80 flats awenum nya no will be for a beton mebum beton on bet me ato under mortgage bind deba I no be strong kwa China banks no say nsi hu no hye fe no dollar denominated a dollar no dwane no so dwane tie no so ya hye bind deba so na be ya ontena obi dan mu enkosi afebol o tembu kakra na no so no ye de hye ba wa betimi ato dan for Ghana mebum ade ba ko so nim say ha Ghana mebum pa na adwuma sem na MPP aban ni aban a ye de hye ejina ho eba ye say ebe ma mebum adwuma 2006 semobekaya ene ne friend National Youth Employment Program ifie mienu no sa hye National Youth Employment Program e de adwuma 108,000 ene be Ghana mebum ye free aban mu 2009 ye nya ni mesie ye nya no NDC ba no mo dane National Youth Employment Program mo dane no jida so mo kaisa no e fa kofa sa jida mu hwia Ghana fo sika bi keke so mo kai MPP breso no na ye fa mebun no direct ye from auxiliary nursing fa dey from Kufuor nurses so mo kai Kufuor teachers Kufuor police sanitation mebun kwa 108,000 ye be free abem na waba sesa utwaso ba na obesesa na ye de jida na somo amunim jinda mu na confirm free buy abeto na ye hu a confirming enti eba no suenhu a MPP aban ni aban ya Fourth Republic ye de hye ya aba se be mebun nya adwuma directly enti osha se ka se ye be hye adwuma mu kina ma Ghana mebun a na se ye ka no kwa if you me fan twemi adwuma aban de aba hye MPP aban ayema adwuma ba for mebun about 2 million public sector in kwa juma de ba in kwa 778,000 former private sector hye aban de aba de juma bank kwa 268,000 aban ankasa public creation government creation jobs hye aban de aba en kwa be 1 million ebini napco kwa be 100,000 planting for food and jobs 762 mebun na manya ahoden amo yes up the last be ye share ye nwa panyi bi no ye former NDC MP ono kra minim se mo hu video na ewo edwira ho ba bi no kamfo hyehyei mwa onu nya ya obotimi bie ejuma no ye no so afeni papi amene ye ejuma and former NDC MP for Syria. This are planting for food and jobs 762,000. NAPCO the 100,000. Juma. Yakasa say National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan. And unkwa saw mebu 92,000. Omu Juma. The day. National Identification Authority unkwa the Juma 35,000. Buy. Commercial agricultural project, forest plantation, and I penny when because John Hesui, and also 84,000 ejuma nom de buy. We teachers are yafa, any teacher, any pay wage organized education service in 74,000. Nurses, ne hospital, doctors are yafa or may health in a sector, no 65,000. Lecturers were university 6,700, and a youth employment agency. The famous NYP, the famous JIDA. I'm also, if you be sanify trade, me fenipa 185,000 100,000. Now share a Susua Ghana Living Standard Survey. HSM youth unemployment. A swati from 11.9% 2015 and 2018 Tibayama by 8.4. Omunyo next survey, but omunyo next survey na be who figures no. Na wenye shishaya ye de aba ayeboa mebum. Ye koye nimi. Ye be miem ID IFF and one district one factory. E de juma piye beba. E ben so be peja kuye juma ma mebum etimi aye juma mebum eni beje ho. Tomakwa koye bi. And I share Casa de Ropa. We share Confi juice. Nipa ya form wo ho. Sika de be imports. Fruit juice na kenkan we are so tip. Na industries no P ewo want to factory P yet is Casa de Ropa ni Confi juice eba. Ya eba say 59. In the next 4 years he eba san twaso. Industry bia de juma be direct ama mebum na fe no boni fra no effect on agriculture, effect on the foreign exchange. Eyasem ketwa na e free kwame nkrumah breso yenya age atum say industry and etimi pija Oman economy aban bia ba Fourth Republic ya e de ahode a share industry mu to say LPP aban e de a share me e free 1993. Na netosu biema ese mabun edi omadwin baso ne digitization
Omanfm
adefo nyema ya abey ai ne social media anya de chefen sa digitization abanu de ahoden sonko ahyem nipa odimu kotini a hye na se eye vice president Baumia nti utimi hu Sena adeno da NPP abaya komaso na uhwe hyehyeye eni niema ya ye bosa digital economy ya obeka Ghana Post GPS ene yenya obia wo GPS address office bia wo bi odan bia wo bi to bia wo ni address say I would me the address no at the your documents at the call PBC and at the copy BBA open. You better mobile money or interoperability. I know with me MTN with me send this card of Vodafone with me send this card of Tigo interoperability. Na ya sam shimukina ama ubetimi dia sika betimi yiska free bank account e dey about phone so betimi transfer sika free phone so akọ bank account afi mo amkuta biometric card nya betimi transfer sika ATM card through interoperability ya dey abey na sa hyehyɛ Africa Ghana demonstration emobeka ya yenyan mendisi 2015 2016 na msusu mo yen hyehyɛ for interoperability bi sika na nkamba be say 1.2 billion ye ba ye no ya yes interoperability de Ghana fonya particular Ghana mabum e bo no 4.5 million to which susu ya eda aban bi enu intem ba konso ayaye Ghana government digital payment platform opesa wo ye bibi tua passport application betimi atwa on that platform nyesa fe na ko bank akoyiska 2 coin de akotwa cedi yenya ya ne fe no cashless payment systems okwa brochure amuso amudimu akotene ye de bagana government services open driver's license digital open so register a car digital we apply for passport digital NHIS card open so sisa first no be call be hwe be a year registration be call na ho nya ye ma lole kwan so nya ye ma enipa ebe renew mo NHIs and out to them here ya obetimi aye wo NHIs renewal aye dia ba birth and death registry digital permit dia construction kakra ninya digital courts law courts ninya no digital ikuso de public sector procurement and license plates be digital nti police ni kuta ne digital equipment the traffic to na e be kire no nipa kan ye ne dia afia ye register ye car no insurance car no roadworthy ninya because number plates no digital ye dey ba I cost say no person to electricity who here so be to kwa vendor we kuna vendor no kra ne dia na sa na be kokra wa pon say that you any other say no share dey ba no betumi to electricity on your phone say it's available to nipa 2.8 electricity customers by the end of December now. Ya roll out across the country. The toss will be biometric national ID card. GD said Nipan yenya ITNP no yenya national ID card. And no babe identification sonko. Na hu hia safe na okuta we, okuta snit, okuta way. O national ID card will be bia waso. Yes, scanner. O passport number beba, o snit number beba, o taxpayers identification beba, o drivers bia beba. National ID card. Obeka yenyan mendi sitina so in film 2009 to 2016. Na identification authority na wo ho on the director or the director general was Juma. In film 8 years someone produce card back. If you mean Sandy Fire MPP Samba, I produce 14 million cards. I'm a Ghana for. The friend of universal QR code. I know ye deba. Ye raba mi abdimu akotini. I know payment systems are very easy. Kotadia was store and supermarket. Na hu hia se fene di POS no atapo nyema QR code no be mo atwa sika no easy e dey ba na sa QR code ye ni di mo akotene pa wa Africa na digitization eno ne dachi na banya di mo akotene ne de sa dachi no e bra Ghana for ni for mebun e NPP aban aban bia ntimi yan record no ho ntimebu no munya gide wa NPP aban mo nya gide wa president Akufo-Addo amonta yachi amonfa aban no si o mabeti amonfa yan intra December 7 na nhihye nya ye way free SHS digitization rent advance ayeba betwem Juma day ban shisha day ban nyamanya bebra Ghana mebon to mu so you mu den am fa intra December 7 ndina ya sema de bae no bani tofa betwi ne mu mpi so be fan sa She was more BB beside
7.1. This is how
Oman
Oman shaping the nation.
Aye. I don't know what's in BB beside
107.1. This is how it is done. Oman shaping the nation.
abusafo ebesa ma munyina ha bia ma obia akwa ba bia election reference center Oman 107.1 FM yako MPP for akachi kofa live press conference Nana Akomia, former director of communications of the New Patriotic Party and now managing director of State Transport Company and now STC STC na asabe bi and then no wasa press conference no na yes last be a babu sumini no ye bi na nkofo bi ye propaganda kakra bi say eh na why be one director of communications and the MP for apamono na kofa na akoma asaba kofa kwa baby
Safati ye bi
ayin Mustafa ye bi yes
other people ye bi
yes
so mo ya na che say why be ya dey
aha e don't tell kwa no
so MP na ni abra o
exactly
difference no
and why na akoma ye no yeah me say subsequent ones no be two why be so na be ye and Mustafa also aye and so na akoma aye o sabi producer na akoma wode be ni onye MPP ni
omo nyina ye party omo nyina
and constitution bia so ni wo say yes director of communications and the press conference Emma MPP obi a party ne be so ma say koye bia obetimi aye ananyaza
antina team omo team no om dey
exactly
antina team na ye adwuma but answer na ye be sa ban means na dey be dey
ahofo
the dodo no ahye ukwada Jesus is consequences the obetimi adiala but announcer oka akwanya a abayi ekreti ede ama enyuma ede ama mabunu efa enyuma side na me pen approach no because of said one or link MPP 1 to the Nana A at this stage or does it because a Yemen P or ha again or so but ne be an implementation I baby share or how be but as a set Ghana for or mutimi ya momo and whom say and so soon the MPP and the NDC and that MPP one more track record and NDC one track record okay national youth employment some people start here no sada near friend
na interesting offer almost start here national youth employment NYEP na akomia and the minister of employment
yes
at that time
minister of employment
yes
and sana actually Boniface
yes
enti national youth employment no ono na de buy enti no mo modules omoye we health assistant community police meboa omoye sanitation
yes
any ade omoye no
so many modules
yes
of before beto aso yes anka se sa de no mo de buy no it was a response to national security report
okay
national security ama report is just say enipa be mrantere maba bebre wo Ghana omunni adwuma ye no e magana tena ye hu
okay
because omun encourage omun nya adwuma omun tifie
yes
obi aso gitum say obonsa ma nipa wonni adwuma ye adwuma enu ntina wo say o mampanyi kofo ehwe national security report no no o de dan de gase da bi en ye se be ma Ghana atam di ne di e wo say mfa be say mbra
na godum bibi na akomia kan na meka on say modules na ndi MPP introduce ye nyina NDC ba pe en o mo fa ho adwen ana omo ye ne say insa say ye mama bunu no enya adwuma na boso no ye mpa bibi mu omo no say napkofo yi omo tani ni nyina into training say ye mama bu ntete ana omo contracted companies oda what is the mention do omo contracted companies ne sika dodo na no omo because MPP buy no the talks talk tax e buy enti national youth employment
communication tax
near the communication tax ni tua and no abaye more or less statutory source bi aba then this who sa no so o ade sika wom no and ade omu fra say ne say ane yemfa ebi me bata ho na yenya ne say ye koma maburu ntete ewa ade we ho ye koma maburu ntete ewa ade we ho eno na de godden omo aye ni omo nyina ebam anu na introduce RG bam.
Over beba ehone different komo ye besa ba hosisi na ma me kwa homa no so quick one na me ne Dr. George Domfe enkodi nko kakra bi briefly e wa half because ya je de brebo wo se lecturer wo ko bebe ni amana transa so won enti ye nkoli kakra bi Dr. Mo ahamo akwa ba
Amini ya mejoso
na enema ti say
enema de boko mini ya yo ade
all right doc we there we brain into ya je wo break akaba ye srewa ye nye within just within 10 minutes and if you like within 10 minutes yanko ahafo ahafo na ka sa buna half region na yesi echemu miensa no ya focus on buna dada ene ye ko ahafo 6 constituencies ene wo sa half regions half region honum 4 MPP dia 2 NDC dia 2 na ya NDC dia no munya habaya aberwajo mienu no erikopoku ena college dada kentinka minimum 6 constituencies what focus on ma because of time to pay focus on 2 keke nkrabo dia
ina go dizenga obo me kwa on the Friday nanka off me na ase me twenwa na Omanfm na me dizenga brafo me did 2 minutes e ka brafo ho asem bi
me ba to do bianko
ya hafo ne fi yo ti ina mame na wase o sa kwanya ya odi ama ni na me ncha o tiefo ni na ma men can be say there's bono afwa isa current dispensation ya isa 72 no bono afwa na ya chimu miensa ya wo bono is bono ene amna afwa na ya beka afwa wasam no the kind ma small picture about the bono afwa region bono afwa region 1992 and I chair about no ase ewo ho na voter turnout no 43.8%. That is that we have 100 be an 22. We move 46 na control abano. We na NDC na 61.9%. Na MPP as we na 29.5%. That is clearly no na NDC stronghold pa the friend na more half no. 1996 turnout no control power could do 72%. That is 100 be na obi voter register no. 72 in ya control aba. Na mini adekosi ye say MCV and NDC 61.7. Let us say Oman to Libya 1992 61.9, 1996 61.7. Na no dey because ye MPP so ye omo it's appreciated from 29.5% na 1992 no echo 36%. Let us say NDC was stagnating. NPP was what? Appreciating. It means by the year 2000. NDC take conform, our identity conform kakra 44.6%. But after no voter turnout also conform kakra 58%. And NDC in 44.6%. Now, you be a say NDC and NPP. You know, Palmer, after 50.6%. It is actually from 2000 on regional about the year and MPP and the region. And then you show me maybe say 1996, for example, you find an MPP a year dear power and you find an NDC so a year dear power. When 1996, I tell you, and NDC in 84%. It's one year dear power 2000. We talk about no na Omaho again ever take the so but na men can say 2 east and the highest vote 2000 of 70.7%. Then the one about 2000 and run of the Mecca because the Mecca city was never the head and CBR and NDC and in 70 in a 44.3%, the Tiba 41% during the run of MIP to so from 50 to 58. Now, you call 2004, no MPP, I want to cause economy, almost 52% in 2004, and at NGC. So I want to know, 46, but now Omaho, over the year 2096. 2008, first one, NDC award for 47.7 MPP, and 50%. And that is the first one, MPP, raising ANDA. Then on the second round, MPP, NDC, 51%, NDC. MPP take on 48. Meaning 2012 MPP take on 49%, and NDC now 52, and 2015 MPP now 54, and NDC now 44.6. It is clear, you know, at the opposite side region, you know, the region is swing, but MPP is bigger than NDC. So compare good one, I see now, which means that in the last few years, you know, and MPP now we share NDC. Baby, now Oman will be Jirapaya, the friend Bunny, you know. All throughout from 92 to 2016, the 10 piano, almost higher vote, no more recording war. Baby, a friend, and then Bunny East, you know, it is Senate, Crew East, Tay, and then it's a Tana, and then a honor yard, and the MPP is almost performance, and a good one almost 10 years. The friend of Ghana region is Sunani East, Doma East, and Sunani East, no Doma East. These are the almost main strongholds. It is our region way, and then I tell you, you're not in the inside, you're Bunny East, you're Bunny region, and you're Ahafo region. American is our main to we can call Ahafo region. So the back Ahafo region, 2016, you're two about Enche, now saying, 2018, 2019, I'm a research. I was having you, and my region, I've seen about 2019, and I about and cannot assemble this one and Anka region offer Eddie Kuni. Now, answer America, about 2019, a party and Uncle Bello. Answer the as figure, many as our research researcher, for government department, ready to get a catch you, and I want it and and I make come once. Now, December 2019. I mean, answer not cancer day results. No, my main chip a team for Agene Kakra and call the Freno 2016 general elections. Sorry, me. In 2016, there were 6 constituencies and there was a region. But as soon as 4 South, no make us say, you know. Parliamentary candidate, you know, on the friend of Eric Opoku, at NDC, decided to an NDC there. But one interesting thing about Sunafo South is that presidential in 2016, MPP, and Akufo-Addo, on 19,328, and NDC now 19,186. That is a transfer. Oko constituency MPP, that was done a chair. NDC, a Kopoku constituency, a Sunafo South, MPP, a dom, a chair at NDC. William Baton.
Doc, what happened? Me too.
Okay, a Sunafo of the DDK. They say a Sunafo, and we shared 2016 to the Siko Kakoena, and the DDK MPP as a political party, and was done a chair at the NDC. It's in the a chain at Don Mahama. But over parliamentary now, over parliamentary candidate, was very popular. And Simona, who don't switch the political party at NDC. And the year at Eric Opoku, the year 2016, on 20,618 against 18,091 by one Buachi, Mr. George Buachi. We are Gordon, Sobakaya, Mr. Watching, now a teacher, I will work locally. But I don't know sociology for Kaipa.
I on one.
On one, I'm a baby friend. On one, Papa James, I don't take sociology.
I'm Pamicano.
No, I thought about it, our co-first together, and we're winning that. I'm actually me kaka class was our call MC to call all the Takada. It in who a heat a crack. So, do you a back we see you say, and a Rikupuku on the panel. And listen, we are now an NDC more than in 2016 years bigger than an MPP. Clearly, now the candidate at a Republican and an open into the Mawuna 20,018 compared to Sayu Rabuachizo 18,091 votes. Yeah, Unai. Another one, a Sukishi South. Nona, you are an Ecolojauda and an Udi Adio. Now, also, presidential 2015, MPP now 13,001 votes, and the NDP now 14,549. That is a moon honor, you share here is about 1,500, and then a year between the Don Dramani Mahama and we are an Ekuvado. Now 1,500 votes come and down on them. But over parliamentary now, also Colin Zauda were very popular in Giwano with 15,855 against the MPP's candidate votes of 12,026. That is a clear, over there, Hong Kong difference over 2,000, almost 3,000, compared to about 1,500 now, about between Nana Kufuado and then you are John Dramani in Germany. South Carolina can be here. MPP won both in the parliamentary and also the presidential. And common call so 2015. And I think that's December 2019, the Coco, I'm a research, and then Confusing the Mice can be a new video to now, I don't know you, Musa, Omana, Omo, to Ometinia Tuapano, Omo, 18 years and a bed. Now, Omo of the person with me at Tuapano. Thank you for you, the same Kabasa, and Tuaba, and presidential candidate then over Tuamano. In a year, 2019 December, not 62% of Nipa Omo, the year Omo interview. Almost 52% Kaze, Obatama, Abanama, Nana, Abdo, Dankwa, Kufuado, MPP presidential candidate right now. Now, we're having to move 52. If you look at what I do a year interview, almost 52 Kaze, Obatama, Nana, Kufuado, half a region. Now, you're right, John Dramani Mahama, so you look at the 2%, the Kaze, Omina Konya, Ombeto, Abanama. Here, only 11% today. Now, Omo. Omunya Omagin P. A call of the first one, the Omabano. Now, you decide to think about PPP, Omo candidate, a part of the one call. To start to make the name means a home could be only a area. Or standards for the ticket of PPP and NTP, and also 5% Casa Omobato Abano Amano. Now, you are a word, Nasi Green Mahama, also one call. Also, only 0.3%. And then the next word, the demand rolling, so NDP was also 0.3%. Other parties, like Ayariga and APC, that don't know Omuya share until them for Amy and Komoa. It is that Saturday, December, Minia, Busume, Busume, and Jumino. And my clear indication said, I have a region. A strong group of MPP. So only compare the current scheme of things. And 2015 you see the other education said one of the strongholds of MPP. You say traditionally, Ashanti region, Eastern region, and a strongholds of MPP. But the other education said a region, Abekamu. I mean, parliamentary now. You Busa said. Sebasa na yetu aba mo mo interview and the parliamentary candidate there na mo beto aba amano na edientia me kama mekasa enwano yewo constituencies makuma na bia omo parliamentary candidate kire say omo eminye omo MPs no ho omo ho mekeka no omo eminye de enni omo ho na ka constituencies we na 9. The Dika as soon as 4 South, you are calling Zelda and our empty no. Omo can clearly say, Omani ne Jumaho. And the we share 2016 now, and Wahamu Chimuno, with 52.4%. By a survey, Nana then also active echo 49.1%. Bill. As soon as 4 now, no, a candidate in the area and MPP. And also, a 1 month work can say also, or many Nina Juma Papa, and I'm talking to Papa, Nanka, me vote, for the 58% of the total vote cast, and then on a whole, then Atiako 54.2, December 2019. Sana, I see North, also your MPP seat, also now Oman Papa Edina Quantum, then a whole dinner. We now on 2016 and 64.6, a kick 30.2. That is and someone who can. Sana turn south, a young Miami constituency, the chain and the layer of cotis, the free and constituency. Also, not almost can't you as a chair, and then deputy regional minister, so almost the Jumano, Mammy, Jim, Papa, and South County. Now, one day I know 54.3, not a shama 42.1%. That is American, that one, come here, Mabuzini. Make us almost Jumano, among women, after Mamma, almost castle, women. Now, the free tunnel south in Gino, Mamenka and a hobby and another breaking. But the fact you are such a empty or tunnel south. Not a home, so more of the body answer. A contest will be a command die, a coping document, Yanabaco, a father, a coping a shoe. So, now acquire a Hanabishi, or your former at NDC at MP. Now, what shall I say? And then Democrats are dancing. What did you be able to go out quite sure? Now you could go road the same of the Yapano. Now you were too far to buy it. Now on pet tunnels out to fly in Tino. We are a cat as a buy a Saturday moon and get you go. You were too far to number on pet tunnels out as Tino. And now better said to you know, and my Pano Mujay. It is our Pano Mujay. And then another tunnel south, especially because 4 or more there, and almost to be so. And the continuing plus to be so many to be so those areas, Open the name of so far, Ama MPP, and Osunko Party, and I'm talking to Nama, and no my year at the shade said, because I remember almost choir, not at home control on the 20 year, over 20 year MPP. And then the Pocom, and he said, Sakura made them once a week, and then she deal with you, and she said, 2020, we cut off. How ready year? The community December 2019, and that's Anemia.
I can't 2 minutes per day time na so ye was say run up ntino nyame adba ye best kwacha ye ukada ye beba ha obi me abeje be 20 minutes kakra na because when I was say fit what the we interest I say say all right abusa for Dr. George Domfe and the di enkobo no wo senior research fellow University of Ghana Legon and unfortunately next time no it's not our good friend today and of a chance na ye 2 minutes be near and run up abusa for I election reference center focus on a half region but and then people for press conference in Timi and Kwankudi and Komono Kese but Nina is for those now
on no ka Erikopoku
yes
and the account for ABL say Omanfm no do na show say Omo Perikopoku other factor bia wan hwe violence to trust them Erikopoku ne di animu in fact Boachina Okano ampa why former MC this pen our gods ni ade Juma mudini sampota mo ho no eno na ba ho
oh okay
enti dru abato so a ye tank crofo ani ankasa ye bon crofo ope but beer there is no enclave our Ghana ha it drew political party activities
it drew
a program for medium to say order and the Boachina Okano there so many pictures name ya maniama or hwa and I don't them crowd that can crofobia Copenhagen and to one funny easy a dear fun and news over 2016 or no anyasem kuma and into no me say one of the hotspots are police for no identify beyond the ones I'm
okay
and I think say intimidation come from now I believe said this time there will be no intimidation so because I near master oh that's it Yeah, can near masses.
The masses,
new regional chairman, no MPP chairman, no. Or also, so, Major say in the course of what in the Becassa. Ube Utimu say,
first one was a furniture.
Also such. And to sit in Siana, a wahono, a moon me and moona, aka 1 DC and some no. A mubading. A mubading power because occupants of the seats Nina, no, call that ne Eriko Pukunina. Munina, Ubia Mudu, Ubia by Rabber, Wajosa. There be Ubia or Dom, Ubia anything. Ubia him said they see ye campaign, na ye survive. So, Ubia him said they see ye na ye survive.
But I was a Nimian South 2 constituencies no far. You need now farming areas.
Yes.
And they say now Kuku Assam Ababedu say.
Kuku Assam ne crime be wo ho. Ne crime be wo ho. Crime be na say crack. Ne say they make say odon emfidie guso eye kwan. So on say ho no na e fasa akoko pie Western North. Yes, a time no aso. Time no aso. Nyame adoma wukada ye beto so before press conference no na hu be hia na kese ke ye gibe kwa na ke so say di ho nkomo. Ba nyame adoma e channel pa ni nyume boiling point ni na agenda so no. Ye betime nya opportunity ni ye di ho nkomo. Tabusafo ye so ano na massive lady aba be di nkomo kama ja hinta sem no. Omasa Eddie Abreye from Godasabida Komene of Akomna Kwachi and Etnas and executive producers na Master Lakahona, Dr. Muzi Okanso, a council most of Sumesa, Kokwa Bajo, the 4 and a Christ love mo, or Monso Nevada Monsu Eguso, Kofi Mamuna, a Kahonesa Fumina. Tabusa for some take be managed say, ye, qua on the Mazamia Duma, who cut the area 2 o'clock, ye best Asia, the Massa.
7 range of products, when I'm powerful. A wardrobe bay na uko ya pharmacist ni kan for ma wo
o ma me kovonia
ene ya wa ma wadupa enka me be ka kire wo say chesti crop de ya na edura betimi no ye kovonia
o se de me ho ye pa
sa